It was a snowy evening in downtown Chicago. The streets sparkled under the city lights, and the cold wind painted every breath with mist. From the window of the small bookstore cafe on Clark Street, Aiden sat sipping black coffee, pretending to read, but his eyes kept drifting to her. The girl by the window. Every day at 5:30 p.m., she arrived. Long brown coat, hair in a loose bun, sketchbook in hand. She'd order a small tea, always chamomile, and sit by the same window. Sometimes she'd draw. Sometimes she'd stare outside, lost in her own world. But she never smiled. Not once. Aiden didn't know her name. He didn't need to. In his mind, she was the girl who painted sadness, and he was obsessed. One evening, the chair across from her was empty. The rest of the cafe was full. Aiden, with a pounding heart and trembling hands, approached. "Mind if I sit?" he asked. She looked up, her eyes a storm of quiet emotion. "Sure." A pause. The sound of coffee brewing, pages flipping, light jazz in the background. "You come here often," he finally said, awkwardly smiling. "So do you," she replied without looking at him. That was their first conversation. 5 words each. It was enough. Over the next few weeks, they started talking. Nothing too deep: books, art, the weather. He learned her name was Nora. She was an artist who hadn't painted in 6 months. She liked rainy days and hated February. She lived alone. No family nearby. Aiden was a copywriter, working from home. His life was quiet, predictable, and uneventful until Nora. He tried to make her laugh. Sometimes he succeeded. But even when she smiled, it never reached her eyes. Something was broken inside her. Something big. And he wanted to fix it. One snowy night, she pulled a crumpled photo from her sketchbook and handed it to Aiden. It was of her and a man, arm in arm, on a beach. Her eyes sparkled in the photo, nothing like the hollow look she wore now. "He was my fiancé," she said softly. "James." Aiden swallowed. "We were going to move to Seattle. Start a life there. But 2 weeks before our wedding, he got in a motorcycle accident. I waited at the hospital for 8 hours. He never woke up." She looked out the window. "I stopped painting that day." Aiden didn't speak. He simply took her hand and held it. She let him. 3 months passed. Their connection grew. Aiden never rushed her. He never tried to replace James. But he showed up every day, every evening, always with kindness and patience. One morning, Nora called. "I want to show you something." She took him to the lakefront at 5 a.m. The sky was purple, bleeding into orange. The waves were gentle, the city still asleep. "I used to come here with James," she whispered. "But now, I want to create a new memory." She pulled out her sketchbook and started drawing. Her fingers trembled, but she didn't stop. It was the first time she'd painted since the accident. And she drew Aiden. That day changed everything. They spent more time together. They laughed more. She started teaching art at a small community center. Aiden wrote her poems. They made dinner together. They shared playlists. She still talked about James sometimes. And Aiden listened. Never jealous. Only grateful that she trusted him enough to open the doors to her pain. But he never told her how he felt. Because he knew she wasn't ready. 1 year after their first meeting, on that exact same snowy evening, Aiden invited her to the cafe. "I have something for you," he said, handing her a small notebook. Inside were poems. About her. About grief. About love found in the most unexpected places. She flipped through the pages, silent. At the end was a note. "I don't want to replace what you lost. I only want to be what you choose next." Nora's eyes welled up. She closed the book and whispered, "I need time." Aiden nodded. "I'll wait." Days passed. Then weeks. No calls. No messages. She stopped coming to the cafe. Aiden waited every evening at the same table. He didn't know where she lived. He only knew that the girl who once painted sadness had disappeared from his world again. He feared he'd pushed too hard. 1 month later, a letter arrived at Aiden's apartment. No return address. "Dear Aiden, I'm sorry I vanished. After you gave me that notebook, I panicked. I didn't know how to feel. I didn't think I deserved another chance at love. But then I realized something. The pain I carry will never vanish, but you made it lighter. You helped me breathe again. I left the city. I needed a reset. I've been painting again. For the first time in 2 years, my art has color. I don't know when I'll be back. But if you still feel what you wrote in that letter, I hope you'll wait just a little longer. Love, Nora." Aiden read the letter 10 times. Then he folded it, placed it in his wallet, and whispered, "I'll wait as long as it takes." It was snowing again. Same cafe. Same window seat. Aiden sat alone with a cup of coffee, pretending to read. He hadn't dated anyone else. He couldn't. The bell above the door jingled. He didn't look up until a familiar voice said, "Is this seat taken?" He turned. Nora stood there, holding a sketchbook. She smiled, and this time it reached her eyes.